All right. What the hell is going on? It's the LiuLi 2024 Grand Finals, and we've got SERRAL in the bottom left up against CLEM, the big match we've all been waiting for. CLEM 5-0'd SERRAL in the World Championship in EWC 3-4 months ago. Since then, they played at Home Story Cup, a much closer series. They played, I think, twice. Was it upper bracket and then finals again as well? But I think the total scoreline, SERRAL took, was it 2 maps against 5 or 6 for CLEM? It was still rather one-sided in scoreline, but the individual maps, SERRAL had moments of greatness, and then CLEM would just do that thing where he would fight back from behind, get in a situation where he's multi-pronging like a madman, and wear SERRAL down, and SERRAL would just like not quite be able to keep up with him. And you might think, well, I guess SERRAL's done. CLEM's the guy that's here to stop him. There's no chance. 2 problems. Number 1, CLEM's been off racing Protoss a whole bunch in a ton of tournaments, which is why he got knocked out of the Masters Coliseum and SERRAL got to win that tournament. Number 1. Number 2, SERRAL actually looked really good, was it 3 weeks ago, on ladder against CLEM. I'm not sure exactly what day it was. And the reason that's big is SERRAL doesn't normally play his best StarCraft on ladder, in my opinion. I think he plays it best in the biggest tournaments because he spends a lot of time preparing, memorizing his opponent's builds, studying them, saving up, doesn't play these small weekly cups, whereas CLEM kind of plays the same on ladder as he does in tournaments, and he plays every single tournament available. There are no secrets with how CLEM plays. CLEM plays solid, he expands, he takes a 3rd command center, and he drowns you in his mechanics. He just overwhelms you with such speed, ferocity, his micro, and he uses Terran units in a way no one else is able to because his micro is that good. SERRAL, on the other hand, showed in that online series of games they played, we cast that from I think it was a first-person view, point of view off SERRAL's stream. He was getting up into good positions with Ling Bane. And that's what's been missing, is CLEM, for a long time, basically was just smashing SERRAL's Ling Bane since like 4 years ago. And SERRAL started using Roaches a little bit more and doing some Roach builds. And, well, he suddenly could win. And then he started doing a lot of Roach builds, like big Roach timings and big crazy attacks. And he started doing that over and over again and mixing all these different builds. CLEM stopped dying to the Roach builds, stopped dying to the weird Muta builds, but he kept beating every Ling Bane opening SERRAL did, to the point where SERRAL had to open Roaches every game just to get to the mid game. But CLEM is so comfortable against that, he's so greedy against it, and SERRAL has realized lately, I need to go back to Ling Bane. It's so hard to not fall behind playing Ling Bane versus CLEM, but I need to do it. Because the moment I play Roaches, I give up map control, I give up the threat of counterattacks, I play too slow, and CLEM is so good at countering those styles that skip Ling speed now, where he will just deny your mining over and over again. He will dart in, dart out. He'll deny your 3rd base for minutes on end. He's still getting a pretty good denial on the 3rd, but you could see SERRAL knew that Reaper was going to go for the deny, so he just very patiently escorted it out with the double queen, and now the Lings are going to go around the left side. What he's going to do, he wants to arrive as these Hellions pop. Notice how CLEM's doing the 3rd command center, then Starport, then he builds the Hellions, and only now will he build his 2nd gas here on this natural expand in just a few seconds. It's very typical. CLEM does this. Like I said, how do I know this? Guess what? SERRAL knows it as well. It's because CLEM does it almost every game. You want these Hellions to move out, your Overlord's going to spot it, and as those Hellions get to about halfway across the map, these 6 Lings click in. If you can kill a few SCVs, this can really shift the momentum in your direction. The question is, does CLEM leave that opening? And right now, CLEM, even though he hasn't seen if Ling speed started or anything like that, he has no info about this. He realizes that his weak point historically has been leaving himself open at home, and so he's not going to do it. He waits for the new Hellions to pop and only then moves these Hellions out. Look at that. The preparation. The preparation is insane, guys. But you know what? SERRAL's like, wait a second. I only saw 2 Hellions leave and it's really late. Is he holding them back? SERRAL, knowing his timings, he's like, there's no way. He has to have 4 Hellions by now. He knew there was no reason to click that in. So he only sends a single Zergling, and dude, SERRAL's a genius. SERRAL's actually a genius. And he sees the Hellions, and he's like, okay, can't get in there. Hellions, they're looking for these Zerglings, potentially. Zerglings, they can hide. SERRAL hides the Zerglings. Meanwhile, these guys at the front, they haven't killed anything. They've been trying to deny the creep tumors. They haven't managed to do it. The Hellions are all moving across the map, which means the Lings are going to click in right now. SERRAL timing this perfectly. There's a Liberator coming in behind it. He's already splitting those Lings up to go after multiple SCVs. Beautiful move here for SERRAL. A couple of Lings do almost get surrounded in the natural, but good micro for him so far. Wasting a lot of mining time, picking off 2 SCVs, and he's going to run these 2 Zerglings away. Not to mention spotting the Lib, which means, guess what? Spore Crawlers go down. He gets these 2 Spore Crawlers on the edge. He's going to have plenty of Queens on the 3rd, so he's not worried about that base, because they're going to be out front to defend the Hellions anyway. Beautiful play by SERRAL. 7 Queens, lots of Zerglings building. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not a massive commitment for CLEM, but so far hasn't really been able to get any momentum, has he? And I think this is just a perfect example of SERRAL's detail in his opening. But wait, Liberator comes in. Ooh, doesn't manage to kill anything though. With no Spore on that base, it could be a little hard to get rid of. He's gonna unsiege it and then re-siege it immediately. Oh, SERRAL not quite able to get a queen in position. CLEM causing problems. He finds a weak spot here. But finally, SERRAL just loses a queen, loses a bit of mining time. He even cancels the Spore. He wants every bit of money. SERRAL right now is not taking safety precautions. He is very aware that he needs to be in a good enough position to swarm CLEM in the mid game. You cannot take extra safety precautions. You have to defend with precision here now and do it off bare bones. Because look at that, 5-minute 4th base, double Evo chamber, Bane Nest. Remember how Solar used to go toe-to-toe with CLEM in macro games? He can't do that anymore. And the reason is he never takes a 4th base before 6 minutes. He's just a bit too conservative with his opening. SERRAL also was struggling with Ling Bane for a long time, but now he's pushing those edges. Ling's coming in, Marines in the open. Beautiful reaction by CLEM though. Look at how quick he reacts. And you can only attack with a few Lings at a time. Dude, CLEM's so good at defending those moves. I guarantee you, a normal Terran loses every Marine there. Yeah, you kill most of the Zergs, but you lose all the Marines, which is a great trade for the Zerg. And this is the thing, when you're playing CLEM, you need to make these moves, but you also need to know when to back out of them. And right now, SERRAL is doing that. CLEM is the monster in the room, guys. He's the elephant in the room. If you're wondering why I'm so SERRAL focused in my commentary, because CLEM does the same thing over and over again. The only difference is he's played Lib. He's doing it well, tactically, masterful. But there is no strategic surprises just yet. He did forget his +1 armor for a while. A rare mistake for CLEM. Not something you want to be doing here against SERRAL. But look at that. Now we see a Marine tank push coming out. Well, that's actually way more committed than he normally goes for. 2 tanks hitting at 7 minutes. This is Maru style. This is the sort of stuff Maru uses to kill Dark all the time. I remember we saw Maru take a map off SERRAL about... One of the last maps he took off SERRAL, actually, probably a year ago in a big tournament, was actually with one of these timings on... Oh, maybe it was longer than a year ago now. It was one of those old maps. Can't think of the name right now. But anyways, we'll see what happens. The Marines coming forward. The Queens are there. Ling Bane hanging out. Queens starting to fall. SERRAL, good transfuses. One of them goes down. The Marines are heavily damaged there. The stim there is pretty big. And I don't think you need to defend this hatchery as SERRAL. If you can kill the Marines, sure. But it's not worth losing too much. And he's going to fight for creep control. He's not just going to give up ground completely. Like, he'll pull back for a moment. I think he will push back down there in a second. Now, we do not have a Hydra Den or a Spire, guys, so it's pure Ling Bane, 76 workers for SERRAL. He's going to send some Lings across the map. 4th command center started, 2nd factory. Armory has come up here, is about to finish, and Lings making it hard for CLEM to move home. Is it worth surrounding this army and shutting it down? It might be. Ooh, Baneling drops getting ready. He's going to go for dual Baneling drops. Nice. Yeah, SERRAL realizes, guys, when you're playing CLEM, this is the problem, right? So a lot of people are simplistic in their understanding of real-time strategy games, where we look at CLEM, we say he's too fast, he's unstoppable, you can't surprise him. Therefore, there's no point trying. SERRAL says, what if I fight him on the front and I Baneling drop in 2 places at once? Because if you do one Baneling drop, you know he's going to spot it, he's going to react. But if you can engage him on the front while sending Baneling drops in at the same time, maybe, just maybe, and look at that, CLEM, no, this wasn't timed out very well. He goes in, he goes out, but another one's coming in on the other side as well. Another one's coming in on the other side. Oh, CLEM's too quick. SERRAL didn't time it perfectly. It was a good idea, but he doesn't time it perfectly. It still forces a reaction. It's still a good move. It's still a good attempt. But he needed to be fighting on the front at the same time to really make that work. I think he should have waited with the Overlords in the dead space and then come in from the edge. Beautiful reactions for CLEM, though. CLEM is only on 69 workers. He doesn't have a crazy worker count, but he's got 2-2 started slightly behind SERRAL's. SERRAL's going to try to roll a few Banes forward into the Hellbats. Good pullbacks by CLEM, man. Very good pullbacks. SERRAL's got a massive Ling Bane force in the top left. If he can loop that around and come in from behind, I think he could smash CLEM's army. But he really needs to Sanger him. If he can sandwich him from the right as well, make it so those Marines have nowhere to go, it could work out amazingly. Here we go. Double Drop's going to move forward to the north at the same time. Baneling Drop comes back in. There's a missile turret there. On the right side, it looks like that Baneling Drop's ready as well. He could come in from this angle. You can see he's repositioned it. This Overlord's dancing right now, looking for the angle. He's going to try and find it, but he can't quite get it. Great interception there by CLEM. SERRAL still hiding on the high ground there in secrecy. 4th command center, very hard to get that for CLEM. Infestation pit halfway done. Burrow's on the way as well. Double Drop's going to make this really hard. This is where SERRAL, he's been a bit more offensive, but now he's dealing with a frontal push clearing creep and this, and he's not able to respread creep. Spore really gets a few hits. He's got another Spore coming up there. Queens and Zergens. Good response so far by SERRAL. Very good response indeed. And I feel like if you could get another Spore down here, that'd be excellent. Zergling didn't get a chance to burrow on this base, unfortunately. Would have been nice if he was able to. Clem changes his mind, goes for the center bottom base. Interesting, goes for the rich gas base. Massling Bane counterattack moves over. Clem sees it from the high ground. Those Lings are going to run in and find a few SCVs in the opening, which could be very effective. At the same time, there's a fight in the top left right now. Widowmines are landing on some of those Zerglings. Zerglings getting on top of the tanks as well. Meanwhile, top left side, big army there for Clem. I think Serral has to give up that 5th base once more. Lings are in the base though. Banelings are going to roll into the natural. That could be huge. Splitting a few Banelings into the natural would be massive. He's going to click on the barracks to blow up both depots at once. Banelings going towards that main base at the same time. Clem pushing in that top left. Lings are on top of the Marines and the SCVs in the natural. Clem's economy getting ransacked right now. Serral, he's been really good at avoiding the frontal fight. He rolls a bunch of Banes in, but good on burrow on the Widow Mines and spreads them. The Queenling Bane trying to hold on. I think Serral might have to give this base up. He's done a lot of economic damage. I don't know if he has enough to overwhelm. He's going to go for it. Ling's trying to drag the Widow Mines on top of those units, but he doesn't have Lings on top of the tanks, which is problematic right now. He's got to get rid of all these tanks. I don't know if he's going to be able to. Clem might be able to unload there. The Lings are on top at the same time. Ling's going to the 3rd base. 50 workers went down behind it. Oh my lord, this is a lot going on. Serral held back with that trigger discipline for so long. He never even ended up using that Baneling drop, by the way. There was so much else happening. He's kind of forgotten about it in the mix, but he just did 50 workers of damage. He kept this base alive, which means he's on 4 base with that 5th base down the bottom, now still up. This is madness right now. I mean, what incredible play by Serral. He's managed to withstand the constant assault, counter-threaten in multiple areas without overcommitting. He does finally lose that Baneling drop. Clem finds it. Oh, well, no! Serral misses an opportunity. Dude, it's still equal army supply. He could have killed 30 Marines there. He just missed an opportunity. He's still equal army supply. Clem still, if he can take one or two good fights here, he still wins this game. Even though his economy is way down, he's dropping mules. He's got a big army. It's all about these next few fights. If Clem loses these fights, he loses the game. Here we go. Widowmine gets not a great shot. There's no Overseers here. Serral needs Overseers right now. He's only got 1 Overseer on the map. He's trying to make Adrenal, +3 Carapace. He's almost maxed his Serral. He should have enough to overwhelm this. Oh, Clem not watching, Clem not watching. Clem's starting to get overwhelmed at the top left side of the map. Those Marines getting gunned down at the same time. There are Lings in the 3rd base. That's why he's making that mistake. The drop over here is going to re-unload, and that is going to be Serral taking a game 1 in style. Beautiful play. Look at that sequence of actions right there. Dude, what I'm so fascinated by is the Baneling drop started, they didn't find the mark, and I thought Serral might feel his heart sink a little bit. But after setting up those Baneling drops, he used them to kind of just force Clem's attention at home, very calmly gave up ground. I wasn't even checking in on a unit's loss tab because the action was so big. I mean, Clem was still trading like Clem does. And I think I'm going to be rewinding pretty much every one of these games because there are these moments where Serral found a way to pressure on the front in 2 places. 1,000 resources. He only gets 4 SCVs there, which is not terrible. It's obviously not great. Clem has this great position in the map, really denying map control, making it so hard to get more bases. And Serral just didn't overcommit. Clem kept trying to bait him into the... This is kind of the dance of Zerg versus Terran, right? Is the dance. The dance of Zerg versus Terran is basically you siege up your units and you try to poke forward and bait the Zerg into running into these choke points and these bad positions where you're sieged and pre-spread and all that sort of stuff. And Serral was very good at just kind of going forward and pulling back at the edge, going forward, pulling back at the edge. Like I kept thinking, oh no, he's going to panic and like overcommit, and he just didn't do it. And it was hard for Clem to get up a 4th. And you can kind of see, like, yeah, it doesn't get much damage, but he's just keeping Clem busy enough without overcommitting. And Clem kind of doesn't end up as in Serral's face as he would like to be. He's cancelled a hatchery, but then he has to rotate his whole army to cancel the new base up there. But by that time, the 5th base down here is back up. And Serral really, really nicely sets up for this. Like, let's see, how does he... He kind of says, okay, half my army attacks, half my army defends. Fair call, fair call. And Clem's maxed, and that's actually his problem here. So Clem's big mistake this game, guys, is that he actually just sent too much army to the top left, especially with this double drop being there and all of his Marines being here. You have to look at this and say, you've got 71 Marines, where are they? He's just picked these 16 Marines up, I think, to save them from Banelings, but it's like, well, they're all in the top left of the map. And he basically overcommitted to a corner of the map. If he had 20 Marines here, you know, he can defend all this probably, right? Because he can kind of defend the tank and the mines a bit more, gun down the front running Zerglings, but without having any supply at home, he's just too committed with too much of his army to a corner of the map. And this is Serral, by being so good at defending, he kind of, you could say, he almost passively baited Clem into doing this overcommitment to the corner, where Clem's like, okay, I gotta grab my whole army, push this corner. And SERRAL really expertly waited for him to do that. This felt like a Dark game from SERRAL, just with more patience and more finesse. Like, Dark always has this way of getting the Terran to overcommit their army to one path and then shoving into their production and killing all their economy. But it's rare to see SERRAL ever find this in his games against CLEM, and that's why it's very cool, because I've always said if you could blend some of Dark's, you know, game-winning maneuvers with, like, the methodical nature of a SERRAL, you've got a very different level of player. That's an awesome game, though. Really well played, and CLEM getting caught out, maxed out, with no units popping out of the barracks, and just not enough defense at home. He's got to watch out for those counters going forwards in this series. All right, guys. SERRAL winning map 1 in this best of 5. What a great way to start off for him. Looks like he's going to be going for that extractor trick. Yeah, 15 drones. So 15 Overlord opening here for SERRAL in the top right for Basilisk. Team Liquid's CLEM in the bottom left side of the map. And damn, man. Great way to start the series for SERRAL. Just the classic maxed out supply. You can't warp in. You can't recall. Nah. Run my Ling Bane in. And force CLEM basically to commit to his push and have to kill you. That's awesome. If you guys are watching live, please help me out in the chat. I've already been asked 5 times in the last 3 minutes, where is this game from? When is this game from? And exclamation mark bracket. There's only so much space for me to put commands in the thing. This is casting this within 12 hours of it being played live. This is from last night, guys. I mean, last night, my time. This, you know, it's morning time here in Australia. But I've kept myself completely spoiler free for once, which is why I'm so bloody excited, because I don't know who wins. I don't know what's going on. I've grabbed the replays, haven't looked at the Wikipedia. I had to ask my stream at the start of this cast, is this a best of 7? It's a best of 7, right? And they said, no, it's a best of 5. And I was like, okay, good. Like, sure, cool. I didn't know. I purposely have not checked what the hell goes on here. So we'll see what happens. If anyone asks where the games are from, guys, the exclamation mark bracket command is usually up to date. And if it's not, on these days when I'm casting, you just let me know in between the games and I'll update it, or one of the mods can do so, but it's up to date today. Yeah, we've got the finals of this tournament, by the way, will be played. I think it's the lower bracket finals and then the grand finals, which could be a rematch between these two, right? Very likely to be, because it'll be the winner of this match versus the guy, and the loser of this match will play whoever comes from the lower bracket, and the winner of that will rematch against whoever wins this series. So that's going to be played tonight, my time later. So I'll try to cast those before I head off on a short little getaway for the wife's birthday. Tomorrow we're going to be doing that. So on the day we're going away, I'm gonna try, and as soon as I'm done my stream today, I'm gonna like get baking. Gotta try and make her a cake, and I gotta just get everything ready for the trip, and then we'll try to get up early, cast the 2 finals, lower bracket and main one, before we head off, and hopefully get those uploaded and ready to go onto YouTube while I'm away, so we can get the important matches of the tournament out early before everyone gets spoiled by everyone else's thumbnails and things. Reaper's having a bit of a bounce here. Okay, so Ling Speed coming in again. Dude, I love it. Confidence in the Ling Speed opening. SERRAL. Very nice to see. Now, how do you get a third up on this map, though, on Frostline? Yeah, he's trying to escort the drone out there. Oh, Reaper just runs past. Oh, my gosh. Oh, so SERRAL has to go take the others. I actually prefer the other base, usually, for its immediate location. I guess the problem is if you don't get creep in front of this base, these ledges could be a little problematic, maybe? I don't know. I think both bases are totally fine, to be fair. This base does have the ledge down here area. They can go from there, and they can put like a tank on that, which is very nasty to deal with. Doesn't matter, 3rd and 4th, both are pretty vulnerable. I feel like this map and Whispers of Gold are both going to be the maps that CLEM excels on against SERRAL. The maps where he's going to be going, yep, I can just swarm over you with that multi-prong. I thought ley lines would be pretty good for him as well, to be fair, but SERRAL already put that to rest. Oh, here we go. Run. Oh! Okay. Reaper dancing. Very nicely done. It is 3rd command center, guys. Now, he's going Tech Lab on the barracks a bit earlier. Only 2 workers on gas here for CLEM. I do think CLEM's going to swap over and go Banshee. Get a bit of that insurance. 18 Zerglings building. Whoa! All right, guys. SERRAL it's the classic weakness of CLEM is running Zerglings into his base when his army's on the other side of the map. This has always been CLEM's weakness, is he's so good at being aggressive. Sometimes just running those lings in can get you the value. And look at that. He's got to send these lings out, and the new lings popping out should just be defensive, I think, in case the Hellions try to defend. No, he's going to send them all across. Every single one going to commit. Fair call. Problem is, if the Hellions dive in, and you've only got 3 queens defending, not much else, it can be a little tough. Only 36 drones to 34 SCVs. Those Hellions move out. There's one at home, 2 more about to pop. 3 Hellions at home should be enough to defend this with Clem's micro without too much damage. But actually, sorry, it's only 2 at home, isn't it? Because the other one had just started. Lings are going to run in, seeing some Hellions on the other side of the map. He's going to split in on those workers. Nice move. Depot does not get raised because he wants to run those SCVs away. The 2 Hellions trying to defend. How much damage can these Zerglings get? He goes after those Hellions. Nice wrap around on the Hellions on the backside of the mineral line, but Clem's micro is absolutely divine. I mean, that was really fluid micro. That only 8 SCVs go down. Yeah, it's mining time. But that's it. 24 Lings so far for 8 SCVs and 1 Marine. That's a great trade for Clem. If he can go across the map, get more counter damage, super worth. If he can't do any counter damage, I mean, don't get me wrong, Serral's ahead on the workers. It's just how do you deal now with the Hellion Banshee? Your lair is late. The Banshee's already almost there with Cloak. You have to rely on that Spore Crawler, which is going to be up in the nick of time. Perfectly timed Spore, by the way. He skipped the Spore on the natural. So if Clem goes past into the natural, though, will your greed get punished, is the question. Spore Crawler about to finish as the Banshee comes in. Lings are on that natural. A couple of SCVs go down. This is good because this is so few Zerglings, and yet they're going to kill at least 3 or 4 SCVs. Banshee comes in, though, grabs himself 2 workers. We'll get a third. Hellion's going to come in. Lings have to stop him with a wraparound. Beautiful Zergling surround. Serral with the preparation. Serral with the preparation. Shots down the Hellions. They all go down. The Banshee does fall back. That Banshee has 11 kills. What the heck? I guess a lot of those were Zerglings in the base at home, wasn't it? It was the Zergling flood. Only got 4 drones, but he killed 7 Zerglings. I was like, hold on a second. There's something broken in this overlay. No, it's not. Zergling's going to think about going for a poke in again. There's only 5 Marines at home. The second Banshee's coming forward. Dude, if those Zerglings run in, they might actually do well since there's no stim. The Wall-Off's not quite ready. Serral can get in there, man. And these Zerglings actually can take care of those Marines. Gets rid of the depot. Serral takes out a Zergling as well. He does pull back. An SCV as well, I should say. Serral's up in workers. Double Evo's on the way. But he's only up 10 workers, 56 drones. He does need to find a chance to build more workers here and do it quickly as the Queens push back the Banshees. Units lost tab overall. What story does that tell us? Wow, 500 ahead for Serral. That's great. I don't think it means he's got the game in the bag, though. Keep in mind, he committed a massive amount to Army. So trading better than the Terran, if you're playing defensive, you're macroing like normal, that's huge. But in this game, is it really that big? Well, his upgrades are at the same time as Terran, which is big. Hydroden's on the way this time, which will mean, you know, drops and air control is going to be a bit easier. Macro hatch coming up, 65 workers finally there. I think that the worry is he's going to build 7 more workers. Does he get Army up in time for these medevacs? Because Stim's finishing, double medevacs coming out. You know Clem's going to boost straight across this map and start Stim pressuring. And there's no Army right now. It's 9 Queens. Changeling sees him. Changeling sees it coming. Great scouting for Serral, as always. So it's 9 Queens and no Army. 8 Banelings morphing, 12 Zerglings are being built. Serral's going to stop at 76 drones, which is the perfect count, I think. As long as he can get this next wave of Zerglings out, get his Queens in the right position, slaps this pressure back, his creep is blossoming. If he keeps spreading this creep in the south side, like on cooldown, which he's doing right now, well, more south. He should have been spreading this way, but sometimes you just throw those tumors out. You're too busy. You got to look elsewhere. Transfuse went down on the Overseer. I think he meant to click the Queen there. But the Marines get pushed back temporarily. I'm surprised he didn't chase that. It's always good to chase these drops. Don't let him unload so close. So it's a slight mistake there from Serral. And look, now his Queens are going to get caught. This is a big mistake. Big mistake for Serral. Oh no, his Queens are caught by his own creep tumors. Oh, this is a huge mistake. He's going to lose 3 Queens. Two Queens. Okay, not as bad as it could have been. And he keeps his creep up at least, but you got to be careful with moves like that. Even there, why is he not chasing? Guys, this is Serral dropping the ball right now. There's no reason to let Clem unload that close. This is a slip up. You might think this is small, but trust me, this early creep control game is everything, and he's not even leaving any Ling Bane in the north. What is going on? He's worried about the Southern Army, but he has nothing up top. I guess he's got maybe the eggs are maybe rallied up here, but now he's kind of splitting his army on the go. He's got a Baneling run by getting ready in the middle of the map. On the top side, Marines on top of the Queens there. They're going to not quite get the damage. Ling Bane gets there just in the nick of time. Clem right now with his aggression. He could find Serral, could get some damage. Serral might be a little unprepared. We'll see how he goes. So far, does well. Banshee's on the backside. Are they going to defend this? Oh, good Baneling hit. 9 SCVs and sets the refinery on fire. Widowmines on the front get taken down. Units lost tab is now 500 in favor of Clem. But Clem is down 25 workers and only being ahead 500 resources. Not that amazing, even though the trades for him have, of course, flowed in his direction in the last few minutes. This creep on the north completely receding. Creep in the south completely shut down. Serral needs to confidently split his Queens and respread in both directions while splitting his army 50-50 to the north and south and maintaining control of this 5 base. Serral should have the numbers to hang on, but he's making a few small mistakes, whereas Clem, he's so good at fighting back. And once again, he lets him just unload right outside the base. This is a huge mistake for SERRAL, guys. He's letting Clem pick and choose where the fights happen. I think this is a big letting go of the momentum for SERRAL. Clem's going to try to take advantage and fight back. He's way behind on economy as Clem. He needs to find damage. He needs to find damage right now. The Lingbane Hydra does chase off the front wave, gets rid of the Widowmine. The Marines pull back. He needs more Banelings desperately. South side, he's left himself open, though. He's left himself open. SERRAL keeps leaving himself open on these flanks, and that is uncharacteristic. It's a mistake you cannot afford against Clem. SERRAL jumps on top of the North Army and shuts it down, but he loses his 5th base in the South. I think we should be looking at a game where SERRAL basically has it completely game over, but instead, he's been a little bit slow to pick up on it. There we go, though, a mistake from Clem. Unfortunately for SERRAL, he focuses the medevac that doesn't have many Marines in it, but nonetheless, getting a medevac and a few Marines that unload is very nice. No infestation pit just yet, no hive on the way. He's going to go +2 carapace, +1 range rather than +2 melee, which I totally agree with, and he's going to rebuild that 5th base. He's got creep respreading there in the bottom. He's got 1 tumor in the north, but this northern army's quite scary. This is going to demand a lot of his attention, and it's been a while since he's done a counterattack. Clem now getting his own 4th base up. Widowmine shots, will they land? Will they land? SERRAL deactivates most of those Widowmines really well, even spreads those Banelings at the last second, but the Widowmine didn't even get to fire. Beautiful play by SERRAL on the micro front. Of course, he's going to go for a 3 Marine drop, and looks like a few Zerglings are there to deal with it. Over on the north, Queen should be able to stop that from unloading. And Clem's just going to have to hover in the dead space, potentially. Queen gets a few hits off, and the Zerglings will stop it from being able to do anything. Clem leaving it there on 4 hit points for now. Another army comes down south. There's plenty of Hydraling Bane here to deal with it. SERRAL's still not going for an infestation, just hanging out on Lair Tech. And I mean, why not, right? Get the numbers to actually do something here and now. There's an army in the south fighting at the same time. Clem not watching. Clem was too focused in the north, loses most of those units. And in the north, he lost a bunch as well. I thought he got them out of there. My God, Clem just lost all of those units. Uncharacteristic mistakes. SERRAL shuts him down. Look at this. I can't believe it. I was like, oh, he's watching the north, so he better watch the south where he's not watching. Turns out he wasn't watching either fight. Clem, uncharacteristic micro mistakes. Look at this. The Widowmines run in and die. He loses these Marines. So he loses everything except 3 Marines. And then in the north as well, if we watch the north side, can't watch 2 things at once, guys. I don't have picture-in-picture production. Yeah, wow. I remember SERRAL was ahead from earlier in this game. SERRAL was ahead for earlier in this game. He throws away all of his Marines and he realizes, like, I have nothing behind this, dude. I just lost my entire army. He has a 4th base up? Like, that's crazy. And against a heavy Hydra force, you have to realize the situation he's in, guys. He's on 2 factories, but he's not been building any siege tanks. He's on pure Marine Widowmine against a guy who now has 20 Hydralisks. And they have 1-2 upgrades. So he's out upgraded. His 2-2 was really late in this series. And you're up against heavy Hydra with Marine Mine, which Hydra's kind of wrecked because they can just shoot the mines down before they fire most of the time. Beautiful game 2 for SERRAL. Absolutely stunning. And I think all doubts about SERRAL being able to fight head-to-head against Clem and about him not being able to play Ling Bane, he is dispelling those myths right now. This is beautiful play from SERRAL. All right, guys. You won't believe what's just happened. So Clem in the bottom left side of the map is down 0-2. SERRAL in the top right. And we've just found out a tidbit for everyone who's watching live last night. A few people told me in my Twitch chat. Apparently what happened here, Clem was so upset after that last game. He left the camera feed because the production for this tournament, they had a camera feed for each player here or whatever on the overlay. He left the camera feed, left the group call they were in or the group channel in Discord, and basically just sat in the replay for 5 minutes depressed. He thought he had lost 0-3. He literally was so tilted by what just happened in those last 2 games. Clem sat there for 5 minutes. The admins were trying to message him. He finally saw their messages, and he's like, they're like, dude, we got to play the next game. Like, what's the holdup? And he was like, what? And they're like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I lost 3-0, didn't I? And they're like, no, it's 2-0. So apparently Clem didn't even realize. He thought he was out. And that goes to show how shook he is right now. On the other hand, this could work in his favor as a tactical timeout, right? I don't think he would do that on purpose, but it might actually, like, well, you've delayed SERRAL. SERRAL might be a bit like, what the hell's going on? And you might now feel like you have a second lease on life. Like, it almost allows you to process the pain for a few minutes. And then you go, wait a second, what? I get another chance? So who knows? Maybe Clem comes back with a different level of motivation now. He's like, oh, I just got given a second life. I was dead. Let's go. But it's going to be Amygdala. It's a big map. I do think in that last game, like if SERRAL keeps letting him unload off creep, he's got to chase him, because on this map you've got two big paths, one in the north, one in the south, and it's very important to get creep on at least one of these paths very far out. It's really hard to counterattack on this map until you take these rocks down through the middle. Once you get a rock path in the middle, it's a bit easier. But until then, you can't really do it because the Terran's going to be in your face. You can't get, even though these two areas in the top and the bottom will break down, they decay on their own. It's going to be really hard to get out there now. Clem says, screw this. I am not letting you play your game. I am going to bring an SCV to block your third. A SCV plus a Reaper. Actually, he sends the SCV home because there's no drone out there. SERRAL playing link speed. Only 4 Zerglings, though. Didn't go for 6 because this is, of course, a bigger map where he knows the Queen can defend him. And no drone out there, though. He's going to bring both Queens out. Starts a third Queen in the main. Reaper could go in the main and try to bypass since he sees 2 Queens here. Now, there's 2 drones coming out, but I think SERRAL, he's got the drone ready to take the southern base if he has to. And he says, you know what? Just go for it. That's fine. Clem makes it so difficult for Zergs to do the basic parts of their build order. Yeah, looking for the creep tumor snipes as well as he swaps over for the Hellions, gets the second barracks. Okay, Clem's going back to what won him the World Championship. He's going back to what won him the World Championship. This was a build, the 2-1-1. It skips the Hellion Banshee phase. It goes straight to Marine Stim. He'll build 2 to 4 Hellions only, and then he's just going to go straight to Stim, double barracks production, and get out 2 medevacs as early as possible. Now, this is a really good way to just go to the part of the game where you excel with those Marine drops. On the other hand, it does mean if SERRAL realizes what's happening, if he can scout this, he can skip spores. He doesn't need to go for an early lair. Most players will go for an early single Evo chamber to rush their carapace upgrade to really limit the effectiveness. And look at Clem denying scouting. Clem denying scouting very well. SERRAL says, okay, if you're going to deny that, my Overlord's going to have to sack. But look at this, Marines are on the edge as well. I don't think there's any guarantee of him getting in this base. SERRAL needs to either turn around now, or the chances of... I mean, he could get in, maybe. But yeah, look at that. Dude, Clem coming out here with a second life, saying, I'm gonna be dominating. I'm gonna be annoying to play against this time. And look at this, another Zergling comes, but the Hellion sees it, and his Marines should be able to move forward to intercept, surely. I do think his Marines can move forward to intercept, but Clem maybe didn't notice. He's not really doing anything to slow down creep spread. That's the downside of focusing on hiding your build. SERRAL sees it. SERRAL sees it, guys. If we go to SERRAL's vision, you can see double barracks. He knows that's happening, and watch for an Evo chamber. Let's go to SERRAL's camera and get inside the mind of the Zerg player right now. He might not go for the single Evo. He might just do double Evo chamber. He's droning. He's spreading creep. Trying to get creep in all directions. He's got to get one out front. His third base. Yeah, he's got one there already. He goes Lair Baneling Nest. He's actually more worried about the getting Bane speed up. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Okay, I thought he would rush double upgrades and go pure Ling Queen, but that just goes to show his respect for the Clem Marine. Against a normal Terran player with just Marines and medevacs, upgrades are important. I think against Clem, he's like, upgrades aren't enough. I need Banelings to force him to pick up. Gets rid of the Reaper, nice move. Clem not willing to give up control of that area, though. Hellions hiding on the high ground, or controlling the high ground, I should say. Double eBay there. Starport builds 2 medevacs and then swaps off. His third barracks will swap onto that. Do we start tank straight away as Clem? I think he's probably just going to put a tank on the high ground to guard his base. A few Lings running into the third could be good, but there's Hellions, of course, available. Lings do not quite see the medevacs. I'm not sure if his Overlord saw it either. He's going to try to think about running in. The medevacs turned around for a second. The Hellions there, though. Clem pushes him back. 8 Queens, 20 Zerglings. The drop's already on the front, dude. Going to need those Zerglings all down here. I mean, I guess 8 Queens can defend if you've got 1, 2, 3. I think he's got 4 transfusers. Yeah, he's got 4 transfusers. Should be enough. Don't think the Marines can really fight into that. As long as the Queen's fighting a good angle, don't get exposed up front. Bit of a mistake there for SERRAL. One of his Queens got stuck out front. Didn't land the transfuse in time. He's going to try to do a Baneling run by from the south side of SERRAL. It's not a bad move. If you can time it out with a distraction, it'll be excellent. Baneling speed started. Double Evo chamber now on the way. But of course, 1-1 going to be miles ahead for Clem. 4th base in the north is already finished at 6 minutes. That went down before the 5-minute mark. That's an incredibly early 4th. I'm telling you guys, SERRAL is not just trying to over-defend things like he normally does. He's finding a new way of pushing the edge of greed as much as he can. He's on 4 gases right now, which means he's going to play pure Ling Bane. He's not going to play Hydras this game. He needs a 5th gas if he wants to play Hydras. So the advantage to 4 gas, more minerals, more basic units, just more Ling Bane, and he's going to be able to do more of those giant counterattacks that won him game 1. It's something where I think Clem is going to leave tanks on the high ground this time. I would not be surprised if there is always tanks on the high ground. 8 racks! 8 racks for Clem! Clem is going to 8 racks the southern path. He's already pushing the north, though. I thought he'd be clearing creep in the south to get ready for this. So he's going to do a little marine tank push to the north. He's got 8 racks coming down behind it. His marines in the south fighting the queens. So far hasn't killed much, guys, but he is draining the energy of those. Remember, the medevacs healing is a bit more efficient than the queen's transfuse, especially because how much damage the marines do. They just force those transfuses out. And here comes a little push in the north. This is kind of out-positioned. SERRAL, he didn't see this coming, man. Great map control for Clem, denying vision. His 1-1's finishing, perfect timing. Stim shields, 1-1, all done, and that's when he forces the fight. 1-1 is miles away for Zerg. Ling's going to go after the tank. Banelings get targeted there by the siege tank. Does take out the Hellbat, but of course the double drop says, no worries, I'm just going to fly into your base, lol. Lol, 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 lol. At the same time, Marines in the south side breaking the Queen wall. Oh no! The Queen's getting taken out. There is enough Ling Bane to defend, but they need to be in the right position at the right time. They are not. Right now, 4 Queens trying to be rebuilt. Those medevacs going in. Clem right now going for the Chaos Man maneuver. This is not safe play. This is dangerous play. And look at that. He baits SERRAL to the wrong position, and he goes out of there. But Banelings just rolled in and killed 18 workers. My God, Clem's economy is in the dumpster. Clem's economy is in the dumpster, guys. We'll have to show you that one in the replay. Clem right now getting mistakes out of SERRAL. He's going to be able to do some damage down here and in the main at the same time. The spawning pool's going to go down. Spawning pool does get rebuilt. Ling's finally pushing this back. The drones need to go back to mining. It's a bit of a misclick. Look at that. He's redropping again. Clem right now is playing like your older brother. He is just saying, look, I click faster than you. Look, I click faster than you. I click faster than you. I click faster than you. And honestly, it's working. SERRAL's taking massive damage. SERRAL did roll in and killed a lot of stuff, but he's losing way too many workers. He's not splitting his Ling Bane up well enough. And after losing those queens on the south, he just lost a lot of his air control and his ability to stop those drops from being so obnoxious. Baneling's trying to roll forward. Marines can focus those. Only loses 4 Marines to the Baneling, which he is thinking is acceptable losses for Clem at this stage. The medevac in the south goes down finally, but not before massive damage is being done. SERRAL desperately trying to hang on. It is equal upgrades now, 1-1 versus 1-1. Clem does some damage, picks up, boosts inside the base though. He's got 6 medevacs over here. Many Marines, about 30 Marines inside there. What is it? 16 plus about 10, about 26 Marines across those 4 medevacs. He's got a few more Marines in the middle as well, and more Marine mine going through the south. Now, it is 8 racks, remember, guys. There is no 4th command center. There is no long-term game plan. SERRAL's only on 64 workers, though. If he had 80 workers here, I'd like, maybe he can hang on and fight back. But right now, even though an 8 racks is kind of meant to be an all-in, it feels like Clem's already done enough damage that he's actually in a good economic position while having the forward momentum. The drop's going to go into the main. Queens and Spore already, though. Queens and Spore were really well positioned in that main base. Oh, the Widowmine gets a good hit. Marines trying to focus the Banes down. Clem with some very slick stutter step micro. Starts to lose a few units, takes down a few Marines, but of course the Banelings are gone. SERRAL has to tap out. And Clem there really just surprising him. This map's always a bit awkward to play because those watchtowers deny so much vision, and that first push, getting to the north without SERRAL seeing it, I think really hurt him. He was trying to go Overlord speed and all this sort of stuff. He did morph Banelings down here, by the way. He waited, though, until, of course, Clem was distracted before clicking them in. So let's take a look at how this goes. So there's the push up north. We kind of were watching this push the whole time. So what we're going to show now in the replay is how does this fight go in the south. Was SERRAL not watching and didn't transfuse? Oh, he loses 2 queens that had transfuses on it without watching. Oh, and then that queen doesn't transfuse before she dies as well. So he lost 3 queens without transfusing. It's always hard to beat 1-1 Marines. Once they get 1-1, your queens do almost no damage. So the reason upgrades is so important against queens, especially for those who don't know, not only do Marines go from 6 damage to 7 damage, you know, and the queen's only got 1 armor, so it's effectively they go from 5 damage to 6 damage. That's great. That's a good boost. More importantly is the armor on the Marines and the combat shield. So the Marine goes from a 45 hit point unit to a 55 hit point unit. Okay, that's good. More importantly, the queen, she does 2 times 4 damage on ground. That becomes 2 times 3. So if we're going from 8 damage to 6 damage, I mean that's a huge reduction. 25% reduction to her damage and the 10 extra hit points. You can see how the queens just basically don't do enough damage with the medevac healing there, the damage output of the Marines. The queens can tank a little bit. They can buy a bit of time. They can't really kill medevac Marine once 1-1 kicks in. So once the 1-1 kicks in, the queens needed to have some Ling Bane support down here, and they didn't, which is why, of course, losing all those queens opens everything up. Now, these Banelings were great. They get a pretty damn massive hit. 18 workers, whole mineral line gone. If he didn't lose those queens, if he had just a few Zerglings or some Ling Bane helping out down there, it would have been fine. Because he's got to deal with this drop, and Clem is the master of doing this whole low ground, high ground. Am I going north, south? You know, I'm going up or going down, and gets in 2 bases at once, and SERRAL just didn't quite have the numbers. Whereas that Baneling run by honestly could have been game winning if SERRAL wasn't getting so butchered at home behind it. because the Baneling run by also spotted the 3 barracks on the 3rd, which tells you you're being all in as well. I mean, really very scary moment for Clem, but he keeps himself alive in this series. All right, we're going on to Abyssal Reef. What a series we have now. SERRAL on 2 points, Clem on 1. His first to 3 wins the series. It's a best of 5. But this map here, Abyssal Reef, is a funky one. Is a lot of ledges. There's a lot of abusive spots. Honestly, not sure why Clem didn't pick this earlier. It's a big map, so you could argue it's good for Zerg. And that's actually really interesting because SERRAL for Basilisk in the top left, he said on his stream playing this map that basically expanding to the south is a trap. Taking this base here is bad. So he actually has realized this base up here as 3rd, this base here is 4th, might actually be optimal. I'm not sure if he goes for this 3rd base first and then takes the 4th over here, but I've already seen SERRAL's camera jumping to here a few times, which means he's already thinking about taking this probably as a 4th base. I think you take the normal 3 base, then you take the 4th base up here, the 5th base up here. The reason is, if you look at the attack angles, big open areas for the most parts. As far as this map goes, these are big open areas, whereas if you go down to this base, you've got a ledge behind your mineral line, which Terran with the range units is going to love the ledge. These rocks, even if you get them down, it's still a bit of a choke point here. The ledge there, it's just a bad area to fight. This whole area, you want to avoid fighting in these areas as Zerg. You want to instead fight in these big open areas on the low grounds, and that sort of thing. Now, obviously, if the Terran's in those areas, you give up ground, you counterattack, that sort of stuff. If you do take this base up here, Terran can kind of, I guess, siege on both sides of this ledge, try to get units down here, but the idea would be to get creep far enough forward that it's hard for Terran to set up that sort of siege push to begin with. Clem is, of course, a Widow Mine boy. He might not use siege tanks at all. He might just, use Marines and mines and multi-prong and drop all over the place. But this is truly the highest level of Zerg versus Terran right now. It is a Terran player that is a menace. And we'll see if he, with this CV, does commit to blocking the base. If he doesn't see a drone out there early, he might not bother. I've always been curious why Pro Terrans don't use more bunkers in their 3rd to help with counterattacks. Because it can just get blown up by Banelings. It's not bad, it definitely helps a lot, but you've got to put supply in it as well. And you'll see it sometimes. Some players will opt for it, and in the old days they did when it was a slower pace of play. These days, though, most players would prefer, if they want to be safe, they just leave a tank on the high ground. And then they just run the SCVs away when the units come in, because a bunker isn't going to actually gun down the Ling Bane. You're going to have to run to your natural anyway, because it's really your rally point that protects you from run-bys. But if you have a tank on the high ground for insurance to gun down the Ling Bane while your SCVs run away, then that can just make it much easier to defend. Likewise, if you open Hellion Banshee, you'll see a lot of players leave Banshees on counterattack defense. They're just there ready to deal with run-bys and things. It's a very nice way to play. Yeah, it's not that the bunker's worthless, it's just that it's not... It doesn't shut down the sort of big run-bys that you get at this level. A lot of low-level players will just click 3 Banelings or 8 Zerglings into a base continually. But it's really funny. So, like, one of the things I have to teach a lot of Zerg players when I'm coaching them, and I teach them how to do, like, a run-by, it gets to the late game, they're still clicking 6 Zerglings in a base. And I'm like... Oh, but you saw he had 2 cannons there. They're like, yeah, so run-bys just don't work anymore. I'm like, dude, it's just 2 cannons. Just click 50 Zerglings and 20 Banes in. Like, you're maxed out. Go for it, dude. Like, you can always elevate those. Speaking of elevating things, that's an early Roach run, guys. We are going to be not going Ling speed. We're going to be using Ravagers. Roach Ravager. SERRAL changing it up. And on a map with a lot of choke points, that probably makes a lot of sense, right? He's like, yeah, I don't really want to be playing just straight Ling Bane. I want to be able to, especially because like tanks on this ledge can siege your mineral line. He wants to be able to avoid all the nasty ledges. If a tank sieges up on a nasty ledge, you just bile it down. It's not a problem. So I think this is a smart play for SERRAL. He builds 6 Roaches early on. Behind this, it is going to be a 2-1-1 build yet again. Clem says, one size fits all, 2 barracks, get stim, get medevacs, and then do that magic that I'm known for doing with my Marines and medevacs. Factory lifts off, barracks will land. Starport is, of course, already on the way, and the factory will build that reactor next to it to start the medevacs. Ling's in the main base. 410, no Ling speed. Clem should realize. He should go, wait a second, what's going on? Look at that, the Hellions go to the low ground, escorting, force the Zerglings back, the Queen comes forward, and the Roaches are on their way across. But with Stim Marines building, even though you're not going to have Stim in time, necessarily, I mean, you might. Stim's ready in 40 seconds. Those Roaches are slow. It's 9 Roaches. Dude, I mean, this is going to be really interesting because I feel like this is where most Terrans just lose 20 SCVs. Clem, if he pulls up his ramp, he can lose a bit of mining time. And SERRAL might just have to back off. I don't know if committing... I don't think you can commit up the ramp. I think you have to just go for the SCVs, deny mining. And look at that, he pulls away. He says, hey, if you want to fight this, you need to corner yourself in here. SCV's trying to run away. Roach is trying to find damage. The SCV's going to fight now. The Roaches need to just hold position micro, I think. He's going to try and focus the army down rather than the SCVs is SERRAL, realizing, okay, this is scary. I got to take care of your damage output as much as possible. Tries to focus down the Marines, but the SCVs become a decent fighting unit there. 4 SCVs go down. You can see it's a positive trade for CLEM, and that's amazing in this scenario. But look, SERRAL's 10 workers ahead. Guys, SERRAL built 9 Roaches. Do you know how much worker production he gave up to build those 9 Roaches a minute and a half ago and then walk them across the map? That is a massive win for CLEM. Even though economically right now it looks a little tough for him, the moment these medevacs start going across the map, he's got 4 Hellions that can do a run by on one side. He's got a Marine medevac drop that can drop in the natural. How do you deal with this as SERRAL? You're going to have to build Roaches here. It's not game over or anything. I'm not saying, oh, it's dead, but it definitely is a good hold for CLEM. His 3rd can land, and unless SERRAL can find some damage with, what, 4 slow Zergling run by, it's going to be tough over the next few minutes to get creep out on the map, to grow your economy, grow your tech, grow your upgrades. Hellions drive in. Already getting a few drones. Good Spore to save one of them. Only 3 drones. Not too bad. That could have been a lot worse. But it feels bad as the Zerg. The units are slow that you let the Hellions and that Reddit Point Reaper escape, which is kind of annoying. Now, surprisingly, the drop stayed at home. I think he's expecting more attacks maybe as CLEM, or maybe he's just waiting for the second medevac, I guess. There's no link speed in this game, so I really thought CLEM would be barreling across this map with the first dropship. But he's just chilling and fixing his macro, which is peculiar to see for a player who is known for his over-aggression to be playing so conservative this time around. Interesting. I mean, he waits for a long time. The Zerglings do run in at the perfect moment. SERRAL just has this next-level star sense, knowing you're going to be double-dropping me now. I better get in there and do something. The fact that he's finding multiple SCVs is crazy. With 4 slow Zergs, he's going to get a 3rd? 3 SCVs? That's amazing. Those units were complete garbage, those 4 Zerglings. To get 3 SCVs, mining time, and pull the drop back for a moment, that's awesome. Infestation Pit comes in, 73 drones are out. SERRAL's going to try to go Lurkers this game. He's going to go Hydra Den. Great Lurker map. There's a lot of choke points, so if you take a good position with Lurkers, it ruins your opponent. Makes sense. Problem is he being too greedy. He's got 11 Roaches, 6 Queens. He needs to treat those Queens like queens, like the goddesses they are, because they are the only anti-air that he has right now. Now, yeah, he's got a Hydra Den, he'll be able to build some. When you play a low Queen style like this, you lose 2 or 3 of those Queens. The drops are just going to be an absolute bummer to deal with. Now, CLEM's going to hold this area and clear the creep and say, if you can't really push down a ramp into my guys without taking an awkward fight, there is a lot of creep on that right. There's not many creep tumors in general, like I said, which is why you got to protect those Queens. They're your only anti-air, your only creep spread. You can see he's not even stopping to attack the medevacs. He's like, just get the creep out. 4th base gas coming up. Hive is on the way. SERRAL's done a really good job off the back of this Roach pressure. This is actually kind of incredible. Second factory's coming in. If CLEM doesn't... I mean, CLEM's going to go Tech Lab. He has to go Tech Lab. He's seen Mass Roach. He hasn't seen a single Zergling or Baneling. 100% he goes double Tech Lab here. If he goes Reactor and goes into Widow Mines, I will be shocked. But if there's anyone who could make that work, it would be CLEM. Double tank production going to be all you really want against a Roach Hydra Lurker style. I would expect probably 2 Vipers for SERRAL. Maybe only 1. He doesn't have a lot of gas. Maybe just 1 Viper and that sort of thing. But he doesn't actually... His Hive's finishing. He doesn't have a Lurker in it. He just can play Roach Hydra Viper Zergling. That's how Dark used to play on Dynasty. He'd just play Roach Hydra Viper. He made it work a lot. Took down CLEM a few times. But man... We took the wrong base, dude. Even with Ravages, he doesn't have the Ravages pre-morph. The Hellions do get surrounded by the Zergs. Roach counterattack running in. Oh, as long as he clicks up the ramp, get it before the depot comes up. Nice run by for SERRAL. SERRAL's taking big damage at home as Roaches and Ravages and Hydras are fighting into the ramp right now. That's kind of an awkward position. He's going to kill a lot of SCVs, but he hasn't got rid of the tanks. Fighting here, this is such a bad area. Because of this little bit of high ground, you can't even move there as the defender to defend. Hydras are running in and dying. The Roaches kill 9 SCVs. They're killing a whole pack of Marines. This is great damage for SERRAL, but he's losing his 4th base and he's bleeding out some units at the same time. He runs forward, drops a bile. He's got to give this base up. SERRAL's bleeding way too many units out in this area. He's being a bit too stubborn. The Lings and Roaches running on this base start to find a bit more damage, but he can't defend this area. I think he had the idea that Ravagers could defend this high ground along with Hydras. They clearly cannot. He is bleeding out units like all hell. CLEM, 66 workers versus 71 of SERRAL. CLEM's 4th command center is finishing. He cleans up those Roaches, and SERRAL is too committed to this terrible base. I think it was a mistake going for this one, guys. I think if he took this base here, it would have been a better choice. I know that's easy for me to say now here from the sidelines, but I think SERRAL's probably saying it to himself, going, why'd I take that? He's got the Hive, but what's the Hive for, guys? He's making a second Hydra upgrade. He's on Roach Hydra Zergling. It is just for 2 Vipers. So it is that dark style. Double Viper to deal with the tanks, and then just Roach Hydra. If you can get two up at a decent time, that'd be good. Oh, nice double of Dark. Very nicely. Dude, Clem just tried to boost 2 medevacs in to pick up the tanks, but SERRAL clicked on the medevac as it picked up the tank, so he ended up getting a medevac for free as well. Nice move there. There's too many Marines. SERRAL's outnumbered after all that damage. He doesn't have any roaches on the front line, and Clem realizes this. This is deadly. Blinding Cloud lands on only one of the tanks. Blinding Cloud lands on some of the Marines, but you can see Clem just has the numbers with the Marine count, and he can literally just stim and win. Yeah, nice play here for Clem. Too good of a start, too good of an early defense, and then I think that 4th hatchery, he just got crazy units lost value. The second run by on the 3rd as well didn't really work out for SERRAL, and Clem here fighting back in this series. SERRAL changing up his style game to game, making it hard for Clem to play, giving him a 9 roach surprise. But even when you are blindsided by 9 roaches, if your name is Clem, it does not matter because you were a beast. When did he see those roaches, guys? Was it when they entered his natural, or did he have a little bit of warning? He had no idea, did he? This base is just so... This build is so safe. If he was going Hellion Liberator, probably game over to those 9 roaches. But he already did that in game 1. He doesn't usually do Hellion Lib more than once in a series. It's usually Hellion Banshee or this build, the 2-1-1. And great reaction for him. I mean, just look at the way he handles this. We're watching this in actual game speed now. Pulls the SCVs away, buys time, comes down with the Marines and the Hellions. Doesn't have stim, but it doesn't matter because he gets all the Marines and Hellions on one side. The SCVs trying to mineral walk. You can see the way he jumped to a base to try to go for a surround with the SCVs. And SERRAL tries as hard as he can to focus the Marines, but the sync up of the SCVs and the army together there was just absolutely mint. Beautiful play by Clem. All right. Game 5. Clem in the bottom right side of the map for Team Liquid, fighting back from behind in this series, thinking he was eliminated. And dude, maybe it has just given him that second life. Now, we know he's going to play 2-1-1 again here. The answer for SERRAL, what is it? Clem's fought back. What is the answer for SERRAL? He's going to go for a 15. Hatchery before Overlord. Oh, we're doing a 15-15. Oh, it's a classic. It's a classic, guys. We're doing a 15-15 build. Old school, baby. Problem, 2-1-1's really good against this. SERRAL is going to... He likes to expand down here. I think he's going to wall off the front. We're going to play a gasless roach build. He's going to take this 3rd, this 4th. He's going to push forwards and try to dominate this tower in the southern side of the map. He could also potentially do a roach all in up here, but that's very hard to mine out. I think that's pushing it. Pushing at the edge of what's possible. Oh, I don't know, man. I'm not going to lie. I love this opening. I think SERRAL revolutionized it, and I feel like Clem had showed that he'd figured it out at EWC. But we'll see what version SERRAL does. There's a lot of ways you can play this, and who knows, maybe he does just do a greedy opening into the 3rd base in the north and goes for Mutalisk. Oh, there was a funny point earlier, by the way. Someone said, oh, you were just talking about how SERRAL wasn't going to take that 4th in Abyssal, then he took it. That was funny. You guys are absolutely right. I was wrong about that. However, I don't think SERRAL ever would have taken that base if he was going to play Lingbane. And we know that from his stream when he figured out how bad that base was. Now, arguably, he even without the rocks down on Abyssal, I mean, I should probably go back and look at the replay after this one as well, no matter which way this goes, and talk about it. But he should have been able to stop it, but I just don't think he saw the army getting there. And by the time he tried to do his first run, he also didn't have Ravagers pre-morphed, which is a mistake because he was being a bit greedy. If he knew the push was coming, had his Ravagers ready, he could have stopped Clem getting set up so close. But Clem, by the time the Roach Ravager Hydra tried to deal with it, not only did we realize how choked up the area is in that mineral line back on Abyssal Reef earlier, we also realized, hey, you don't have Ravagers. Oh, and now he's got 16 Marines on the high ground covering. So to get in range to Bile, you need to cram your whole army in there, which obviously was not a good move. So SERRAL should have given that base up earlier back on Abyssal. He's going to go for the northern 3rd, even though he tried to mine this out. Now that's interesting, guys. I think he's playing Zerglings. I don't think he's going to play a Roach opening. He could, but I don't think he'll play a Roach opening then. Either way, Clem right now has gone for the factory. Very standard for him so far. 3rd command center goes down to the main base. Very typical. Reaper's still dancing around. And he does, of course, know about that 3rd base. Dude, I'm so curious. Okay, so SERRAL goes for a 250 gas. Yeah, I think he's just going to go very late Ling speed here and play a Zergling build off a greedier start. This is reminiscent of what he did versus Maru back in Dallas. Dark and a few players have been copying it as well, the full gasless greed builds. But we know it's a 2-1-1. We know he was going to do this because he's been doing this in the previous games as well, right? Clem's decided 2-1-1's the way to go. SERRAL does go for a Roach form, so he is going to play defensive Roach, probably into Ling Bane on this map. I don't think he tries to play the Lurker Viper or Roach Hydra Viper style again, but we'll see how it goes. Dude, I can't believe we're in a game 5. This is so sick. It's kind of funny because, like, this is the way it goes, right? SERRAL's throwing curveballs at him, and Clem's just like, do the Imba build that I 5-0'd the World Championship off. 3 command center into 2 barracks. This is like where all of SERRAL's problem solving needs to go. And honestly, I want to see this opening against Ling Bane. I think Ling Bane, he can beat this opening with Ling Bane, but I don't know if I believe in the Roach build versus it. We'll see how it goes. Quick Evo Chamber can go for a fast Carapace. Wait, what? Is he full walling? Oh, he thinks the Hellions are going to run in. Wait, what? I guess he's just going to cancel this every now and then. He just wants to make sure the Hellions can't run in until the Roach is here. He's had too many games where he's lost because the Hellions run in and kill way too many drones. That's actually really good. This allows his queens to try and defend the drones on the 3rd base. Yeah, that Evo Chamber, you just cancel it and rebuild it. If he needs it. He's just going to leave it on position for now. It is getting pushed by those Roaches. Okay, no, it's going to mine. The queen's on the natural. Roach is out front. He should be fine now. But of course, SERRAL. Whoa! Oh god, sorry guys. We just did an instant rewind in the Reaper. You guys saw nothing. That's fine. Production... my hotkey profile reset when I changed region, apparently. My bad, guys. I forgot to change that one. It's BattleNet 2.0 when they created that for StarCraft 2. They said it was going to be next gen, the best thing ever. Much worse than Warcraft 3 BattleNet. It's much worse, unfortunately. It messes your hotkey profile up whenever you change regions. Sorry. He saw the stim earlier with this Overlord. SERRAL knows exactly what's going on. Apologies for that little break in the action there. But, you know, try to make things as authentic as here rather than going back and casting the game from the start, pretending I'm seeing it for the first time. If there's a little glitch or a little screw up, I'm just going to leave it in. I think authenticity in the commentary probably a bit more important than the occasional snafu. If it's a bit too bad, we do fix it up. We've had a few issues lately with various tech things as well. Had to have the quality randomly get better halfway through a cast and that sort of stuff. So sorry about that, guys. I think that was the SERRAL CLEM one. SERRAL Hero, sorry, in the MC7. Anyways, let's talk about the games. Carapace is on the way. Is the lair done, guys? It is. Where's Roach Speed? Okay, Roach Speed just started as I said that. He's got a 4th in the top left, and I do expect Ling Speed maybe will come in the near future, but 2nd Evo Chamber is like really important, and it's not on the way yet. First double drop coming in. 10 Roaches, 5 Queens, all that's ready. Clem, he's going to try and run those Hellions in to distract. Right now, out of position is SERRAL. Surprisingly out of position. My god. It's so hard to get vision to know where this drop's coming from. He wasn't willing to give up his 4th base, but because of that, he's going to lose 2 Queens. Multiple Roaches. Oh no, this is a bad start. He was on only 5 Queens. He had very limited anti-air to start with, and now he's kind of screwed. Hellions gonna run in the north at the same time, guys. They're gonna be fighting drones. Oh, they're gonna get some big shots off of those drones. The drop picked up. It's dancing around at the same time. The Hellions will finally go down to those Queens. Only 4 drones. Could have been worse. Could have been much worse. This time, SERRAL looked way better than he did on Ley Lines. Remember on Ley Lines? Was it Ley Lines? No, sorry, the second map, Frostline, was where he got picked apart by multi-prong drops. He's just droned up. Dude, he's just gone to 80 drones! There's greed, and then there's whatever SERRAL's doing right now, guys. And that is unconscionable greed. That is absolutely ridiculous. In the midst of this, he drones to 80, goes Infestation Pit, goes for the Bailey Nest. He doesn't have a 2nd Evo Chamber, though. That's just gone down now, and I do think that is very late. But as long as he starts +2 Carapace straight away, he's going to be way ahead on those upgrades, which is important. Now, keep in mind there's a gold-based mining. Clem has 6 gold minerals. This will mine out very fast, but it'll give him a temporary boost in momentum. Now, it's a deciding game. He will not go for the all-in off this. He will build a 2nd factory. He'll go for a 4th command center, and he'll build it on location. He's going to play greedy. He's going to play straight up, and it's going to be on SERRAL to take him down in the late game. SERRAL's +2 Carapace, +1 melee, and Hive on the way. His Bailey Nest as well. He's transitioning off the Roach Ravager start into the Ling Bane, and he's not wasting any investment in range upgrades this early. Problem for SERRAL this game is going to be his anti-air is going to suck. He's rebuilt some Queens. He's got a bit of creep going out in all directions. He does need to mine these minerals open, otherwise this could be annoying, but I guess since he has a Roach opening, he's not as worried about tanks on the other side or anything like that. His focus is purely on this northern side, where we of course know that's a quad drop, guys. That is a quad drop. That is a lot of Marines, about 25 Marines coming in. A few of the Ravagers are trying to morph, but they're not ready just yet. But with Carapace already done, you can see the Roaches hold up surprisingly well. And that's the difference when you actually have the upgrade advantage. 3 more barracks go down to bring it to 8 racks for Clem. He's also got +2 attack starting. Double drops doing what they can. Failing speed started. Drilling claws, vehicle weapons. It's a mixed style, guys. He's going reactor on the second factory. So Clem knows it's a Ling Bane transition. He's getting ready to have a mixture of tanks and Widow Mines and Bio. All of the pieces for the late game. Now, SERRAL, with that early 80 workers, has done an excellent job, but he needs better creep control. And you can see with these minerals going down, Clem can just leave a Marine here and deny mining, and deny that even kind of getting mined open for a very long time in this game. I would love to see Clem leave a Marine here just to be a nuisance, but we'll see if he does it or not. Changeling on the Watchtower. We'll see the army. And just really good vision in general here for SERRAL, as this Zergling has a little chat with the Urubu. Urubu, who are you? Urubu, how the hell do I beat Clem? He's a freak. The Urubu squawks and just kind of flaps away a little bit as Clem's Marine comes over to kill him and says, "Stop talking to that bird!" Urubu flapping in excitement as the Marine army comes and pushes it out of the way. It's a giant push, guys. 5 tanks, 53 Marines, 1 Marauder as well. Ling Bane Ravager is ready to try and slow this push down. He doesn't have many Banelings. He does not have many Banelings, but if he could take out a tank or two, force the siege, buy himself time, brilliant play for SERRAL. Double drop in the main. Double drop in the main. Ling Bane's there, though. Great reaction by SERRAL. He forces it to pick up and should be able to take out that Widow Mine if he's on point. But right now, SERRAL busy dealing with the drop, setting this army up, and the tanks, the mines, are creeping forwards. He's going to go across the map, or at least get ready for a flank. If that could come in from behind, if he can clean up these tanks, I think SERRAL might have this push cleaned up. I actually think Clem's kind of in the open right now. He didn't go as far forward as SERRAL was expecting, but SERRAL comes in with the big blinding clouds. 1 Viper gets focused by the Marines, but that's a good cleanup. Getting rid of 3 tanks is excellent. The problem is, the Viper is such a crucial unit that I do think it's actually something you need to replace straight away. And SERRAL realizes it. He does replace it. 81 workers. He's going to go for Ultra Cavern. Plus 3 Carapace. Plus 2 melee starts up. While plus 2-2. Not quite done yet for Clem. SERRAL still ahead of the upgrade curve. And most importantly, on the most important upgrade in the game, which is that Carapace. Ling Roach here trying to defend. Remember, he has no anti-air. And the problem I have with the style he's playing is he's got money right now. He's maxed. He needs a Spire or something to clean those drops. Otherwise, Clem is going to out-multitask you. Widow Mine's firing, not getting big shots. Tanks going down. Easy clean up in the middle. But it's a distraction. Viper gets found in the top left side. Clem is dropping multiple places at once. He pushes in the middle, gets his push cleaned up, but he does get the 4th base sniped as a bit of a cost for that. So he pays a price, and a hefty one. Units lost tab, though, is 1,700 in his favor, and denying some of SERRAL's mining is very nice. SERRAL back to 4 bases, effectively mining right now. The Roaches are units SERRAL may want to start throwing away in this game. He's still got 20 Roaches, which are not great units the longer this goes. Clem's going to run into the natural plus 3 Carapace. This is huge! Clem finds the plus 3 Carapace, the linchpin of SERRAL's entire gameplay. If it gets focused, it'll be a problem, but SERRAL scrambles over there and saves that Evo chain. But that is something I cannot emphasize enough how important that is. That is such an important thing. He needs to keep that alive. Roach Baneling over here. The Zerglings. Oh, Widow Mine does take out a few Banes as well. Remember, without a Spire, without Corruptors or Hydras, these drops are going to be a menace, and he's got very little way of actually pushing him back. Overseer in the south is there. Zerglings on the south side trying to counterattack. SERRAL in the north does lose a few more Banes. Clem picks it up. SERRAL needs to dominate that northern lane. I think he's got to really focus on his creep, and he's got to stop these drops picking back up. For now, though, he's pushing Clem back. He's only behind 1,500 resources. Problem for him is Clem's floating a 5th town. Clem's got his own 3-3 vehicle weapons on the way and is building a few more workers as well. Clem's realizing, I got to settle in for the long haul. Now, interestingly, why is he down here? SERRAL is waiting for these minerals to mine out. He knows they're going to mine out in the next 30 seconds, and then he's going to poke in and try to roll into that gold base from behind. Excellent ploy for SERRAL, understanding his time. His Banelings are waiting. They're waiting behind the mineral line. I think he thought it would already be open. Parasitic Bomb comes forward. Banelings rolling forward. The Widow Mines are getting big shots off, though. There's no Banelings left in the middle. Oh, God, SERRAL's in trouble. Roaches cannot hold the line. The Vipers need to get out of there. One of the Vipers goes down. He uses a blinding cloud, but he uses it a second too late. And oh my gosh, SERRAL just F2'd. He just F2'd his whole army back here. He's trying to survive right now. Widow Mine does massive friendly fire, but that Widow Mine does land on a Roach. Beautiful spready at the last second. Bile's unable to land. These Roaches and Ravagers are not good units. SERRAL's bank running low. He's down about 1,700 in the units lost. Widow Mine could get a big shot. Gets a decent one, clears a bunch of Zerglings. Another one lands on some of the Ling Bane. The drops have to pick up and fly out of there. Now, these minerals still have not been opened as far as I can tell. SERRAL's going to chase him back to his mineral line. SERRAL's got to be careful about overcommitting on this counterattack. He's also got to make Overseers and clean up that giant field of Widow Mines we can see in the minimap, but he is breaking this base. He's getting 8 SCVs. Killing the reactor on the factory, or that factory itself, would be massive, but it looks like he's going to pull back for the moment. He's only got 1 Overseer. It's not here, and those Widow Mines are refilling. It's a mistake for SERRAL. He's only just remembered about the Overseer. There's a lot going on right now. He needs more Parasitic Bombs. Parasitic Bombs will be game-changing. He's got to land the Parasitic Bomb, but he's got to be careful of these Widow Mines. He did take a few big hits. The Roach Ravagers here, the Banelings are still chasing Clem home. Great moves for SERRAL, but the Widow Mines doing devastating damage. And SERRAL is overcommitted. Now, the Ultras and the Overseers will clean this up. He cleans up those Widow Mines in the middle of the map, which is excellent. He pulls on back. Does he still have his Vipers? Only 2 Vipers still alive. He's lost 3 in this game. He's going to build himself an Infestor, a very important unit. And CLEM right now is in one-track mine mode. He is going to thrust into the middle of the map repeatedly, and SERRAL can either stop it or he can't. And if he stops it, SERRAL can win this game. If he can't stop it, he's in trouble. My God. Picking into the Reddit point medevacs there, barely escaping. Dude, 1 or 2 parasitic bombs, 1 or 2 friendly fire in the Widow Mines. CLEM's entire life is gone in this game. CLEM right now hanging on by a thread. He just queued Liberators up though, guys. He's sending Liberator harassment to distract SERRAL, and that is a big momentum shifter, because if SERRAL can't focus on the fights properly, he could make big mistakes. He's chasing him back in the middle of the map. CLEM's still thrusting into the middle, picking up, pulling out. Then he's redropping, and he's going back in again. He is the master of this style of just going in and out repeatedly. And that Liberator finally goes down, gets himself a Queen though. There are only 4 Queens on this map. That's all 4 of them in the south side of this map. Vipers are exposed in the north. CLEM may dive. Nice parasitic bomb. Look at that. SERRAL, of course, gets the parasitic bomb, but there is a 1-second delay on it doing damage, and 1 second is about the average time it takes CLEM to split that medevac from the center of the group, even if his screen was looking elsewhere. Liberator's going to siege up on this base. That is, of course, going to be very annoying. No lib range, at least, on it, so it's not too hard to deal with, but it is going to distract SERRAL once again as he is trapped in this crazy wall. Liberator down here runs into spore range. Of course he repositions it. His name is CLEM. He's a freak. SERRAL looking elsewhere, which means as the lib repositions for the second time, he baits the spore out of position. Queen's trying to get down there. Are they on top of it? They are kind of on top of it, but at the same time, there's a big fight in the middle. Ghost get caught by Ultra Baneling! Ghost get caught by Ultra Baneling! Too much going on at once. Even CLEM cannot keep up with 400 things happening. A bunch of Ghosts go down. The Ultras do have to fall back. Top left side. Spore Crawler finally deals with the Liberator. That goes down. Drones need to go back to mining. Down here, drones are back to mining. SERRAL struggling to keep his economy up. Liberators are one of the biggest asymmetric ways of making your opponent look elsewhere in late game Zerg vs Terran. But SERRAL finally realizing this bottom path's open. I need to take advantage of this. The Lingbane Ultra getting in here is going to absolutely be a menace, because right now CLEM's struggling to get center control against the Ultra Viper, and if those units hit the south, he's screwed. SERRAL takes the bottom base. At the same time though, CLEM has a nice counterattack in the top left. SERRAL has nothing in there in position to defend. These guys are not going in. If SERRAL clicks those in, it is going to really push CLEM on the defensive. But right now, it's not the case. CLEM does pick up, drop inside these Ultras and Lings. The Ultras and Lings get good damage before CLEM realizes and picks up in the north side. SERRAL only loses 3 drones. Somehow, only 3 drones go down. But CLEM, I don't think SERRAL realizes this is all open. He's got to be pushing into the production line, but now CLEM realizes he's set his rally point a bit further back. He's gathering his forces up, and I think SERRAL now is finding himself in a game that's going longer than he would like it to be going. CLEM is a freak, and the longer this goes, the scarier it is. That being said, Ghosts are now 3 supply, which means you've got 5 supply less right now on 5 Ghosts. You can't really play mass Ghosts. Ultras are a much better late game unit than they used to be. Vipers coming in with parasitic bombs. That's not enough to actually kill the libs though, which is so irritating. And this is where is the Spire? It's finally here. Guys, remember what I've been talking about? Corruptors are the necessary piece for late game for the last 6 months. No pro Zerg has listened to me. You got to admit, just a few Corruptors here would be a world of difference. I'm not saying a lot, 3 or 4, just 3 or 4 Corruptors relying on Corrosive Bile. Look at how irritating this is. I know I rant and rave a lot, but we've got to get a few Corruptors out right now. CLEM is out positioning us. SERRAL, he's not able to handle the middle push at the same time because he's so busy dealing with the libs and the drops. The drops go on the high ground, the low ground, and that's going to be a snipe on the middle base. Widow Mines and snipes on the Ultras. Wait, SERRAL, no way he can defend this. Oh, wait, he gets the fungal from behind. The Banelings do get hit by a Widow Mine, but a lot of those units go down. SERRAL is an absolute freak. When did that Infestor sneak out there? And how is he still dancing with this lib? This Liberator versus Ravager dance is insane. You cannot let CLEM force your attention away this much, though. This is something I am adamant about, is these Liberators, if you don't have mobile ads yet, are too much of a menace, and I think CLEM's getting too much damage. SERRAL's down to just 67 workers. Even with that big Infestor win, SERRAL's economy is getting hammered. He's trying to counterattack right now, but there are planetaries going up. There's libs everywhere that he just doesn't have an answer to because Vipers don't deal with them. He doesn't have Hydras. He doesn't have Corruptors. He's got an attack in the south, though. This could do big damage. CLEM has to deal with a big attack in the south. The Northern Army's not really finding anything, in my opinion. The Vipers are getting pushed away. The Ultra Ling gets taken down by the Liberator. Of course, CLEM saves 5 SCVs and then drops them back out. Ultra Bane running through here. I think he'd be better off hitting towards the base, but he does take out an Orbital Command Center. Nice move for SERRAL. SERRAL takes out an Orbital Command Center. He's taking out the factory as well. The Ultra on top of the Marauders. Can the Marauders take him out? Yes, the Marauders and the Ghost will take out that Ultralisk finally, but in the north side, big ambush comes in. Parasitic Bomb goes down. This Liberator finally falls. Another Parasitic Bomb could be good. Fungal lands on a few of those units. CLEM with a good reactive spready. Another Parasitic Bomb does land on one of these medevacs. The Vipers, the Ultras, the Lings, and the Banes pushing CLEM back. It is nail-bitingly close, but CLEM has back. SERRAL does not. This is something where if SERRAL doesn't get game-ending damage now, I think Clem may have this in the bag. What a crazy game. But my god, the Liberators are just causing such mayhem. He's hiding his SCVs, he's keeping them alive, the Ultra's going in and out, and SERRAL, remember, his income is dead. He's lost his third base behind this as well. He lost his base in the top left. He's only got 61 workers. He can't quite take out the planetary, and that is going to be that. I would not be surprised to see him GG. He's been ignoring his economy for a few minutes because he's realized, I just can't get it up. I think Clem has just weathered the last-ditch effort of SERRAL, and I think now SERRAL down 40 supply. He's got how much mining? He's mining more? Wait, he's got this base still mining. Hold on. That base has got 10 workers. He's got the gold. Hold on, maybe. He's still got 7 Ultras, 1 Infestor, 2 Vipers. Oh, speaking of Infestors, Fungal from the high ground. Ling Ultra Viper coming in right now. No Banelings, Parasitic Bomb, the Liberator will be able to take that one out. Big damage here for SERRAL with the Spellcaster combo, but I don't know if he can chase into this base, and I think that's a wise choice to pull back there. This drop, though. This double drop is ruining SERRAL's income, and of course, another Liberator in the south getting 14 kills. Liberators, everybody's favorite unit. Oh my god. And look at this high ground, low ground, high ground, low ground. No, I just think Corruptors would have won this series, guys. I know it seems crazy, but just 4 or 5 Corruptors in this game, you got to admit, it would have been a game changer. If you don't have Corruptors, Liberators are such a problem in the late game, and you have to add Corruptors. I've been saying this for a while. It's so hard to do in the moment. I think SERRAL has played such an excellent series, but I think at the end of the day, in the late game, a guy like Clem especially, like he exemplifies this with just such incredibly high level play. I mean, this is insane play from Clem. What he did with the drop in the top left, the lib in the top left, and dancing around with those 2 libs down here against the Ravagers, just dodging biles for like a minute. No one, even SERRAL, can keep up with that APM-wise. It's not physically possible. I don't care how fast you are, and it's Clem who really makes like this dance here. The number of times he was dodging these from like 15 to 16 minutes and just keeping SERRAL busy while so many things were going on. Spores are amazing for shooting down drops and libs, but we see that Clem just avoids them and makes it really hard. I actually think the Spire came in at the perfect time. I think if he immediately built a few Corruptors out of that Spire, I actually think he could have added it in, and it's obviously the reason why people say Corruptors aren't good is because they're one-dimensional. They don't shoot down. But the reason I've said they're so amazing is Snipe only does 130 damage. They survive with 70 life. And Marines and Libs and stuff do no damage to them. So it's only a 2-supply unit, but it's very supply dense. A lot of the time at max out, Zerg's struggling with their supply efficiency. Queens are kind of a waste, right? They don't do much damage or anything, right? Which is, it's actually good to have 3 queens at this point, you could argue. Maybe 5 queens would be better to respread creep. But Corruptors have 200 hit points and 2 base armor. So they're actually good tanks, good DPS. They're just really good for a 2-supply unit. Whereas Hydras can die to Marines, die to Marauders, die to Libs, die to Ghosts. The Corruptor only really dies to double snipe, which the Terran should not have enough snipes to be using on Corruptors and Ultras and everything else with this style. And I really do feel that Ultra Lingbane Corruptor with Spellcaster support is the best late-game mobile army versus Terran. But, I mean, just hats off to Clem. Like, at this point, if these got cleaned up, this is an entirely different game. But because they survived the double Parasitic Bomb, the Vipers have to go get energy. And then he's got this double drop in the top left at the same time. Clem's able to basically start establishing bases despite SERRAL burrowing Zerglings of being a nuisance. He's redropping these guys, trying to snipe the hatch, baiting into the libs. And look at that, he just sets up again. Oh, he's just so frustrating, so distracting. This Ling Bane gets pulled out of position, which means a few more drones go down up there. And this, of course, sets up for Clem to push the middle. So SERRAL's like, oh, this hatchery's gonna go, oh, okay, gotta fight here. And he just baits him in again, and then the Ultras are getting kind of sniped and hit by whatever. Like, it's the way he pins him with this drop having no answer, this having no answer, and then the push in the middle. Even though he landed a good fungal, SERRAL had to, he's getting literally stretched beyond his attention limits at this point, because Clem is just forcing him to react too many times in too many places. And you can see SERRAL just F2s, maybe not even an F2, but he grabs all the northern armies, leaves this base undefended, and Clem's instantly in there. The second he leaves, he's in there, ripping SERRAL's income out from behind him. Whereas obviously a single Corruptor could have cleaned this up by now, right? So I do think Corruptors are necessary in the later stages. I think it's easier said than done from the sidelines. I think SERRAL played an amazing series. But hats off to Clem for coming back from down 0-2. Thinking he was out 0-3 because he was so tilted and brings it back. I'm sure this is frustrating for SERRAL, but I think SERRAL's showing us with his range of play, he's got builds. I mean, he did such a good job of getting the fast +3 carapace this game. Even when I thought he was already a bit too far behind the curve, he still made these last few minutes look shockingly close with the way he would run away and then turn on Clem when Clem's not expecting it. Fungal ambushes, Viper spells spamming out. But something I've basically been saying for a while is that Zergs are too reliant on 2 or at most 3 Vipers parasitic bombing air units for anti-air damage. And I think Clem especially, with the mixing the libs in and using the multi-drops, he shows that you simply cannot use parasitic bomb frequently enough to deal with this. You need, if you don't have Hydras up, you gotta go Corruptors, and I will stand by that. There's a lot of hills that I will say I will die on. I watch more StarCraft than anyone else in the game. I'm pretty sure I do. Could be wrong. Maybe there's 1 or 2 other guys out there. And yeah, I think that's one where I really want to see SERRAL add Corruptors in these late games. I might send him a DM, have a bit of a chat about it, just to get a discussion going, because I think this is something that the way the libs get abused is you gotta do it, man. Either way, GG, well played. This was a wonderful series. Thank you everyone for watching. Really appreciate the support, and I hope they get to rematch in the grand finals. So yeah, GG, well played.